So Tyler Brennan and Chad Capper have both posted to their individual pages, the RDQ page and the Rotor Riot page. And the gist of it is this. Tyler Brennan has invested in Rotor Riot and is now half owner of Rotor Riot. In addition, the Rotor Riot store will be running out of the RDQ store for the time being. We'll see how long that lasts. This is a pretty big deal. And it's a big deal on a lot of levels, not the least of which is that the goals of each organization are actually radically different. RDQ is purportedly one of the best sites to go buy equipment from. Their purpose and their stated purpose and Tyler's stated purpose is to keep pilots in the air. Rotor Riot, on the other hand, has a store, but they use the profits from the store to build and produce content. And the focus of the company is actually on that content, but they can't make the content without the store because the store provides the revenue that they need to make the content. So Rotor Riot at its heart is a production company that is backed by a store. RDQ, on the other hand, is a store, and they are explicitly designed to sell to pilots. That is going to be a big deal going forward for Rotor Riot. So first off, I want you to just think for a moment, what is the value of the Rotor Riot brand? And just think about that for a minute. Like, how many hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars do you think it would take to buy half of Rotor Riot? I think it's probably not an insignificant amount, to be quite honest. And that cash has now been infused into Rotor Riot, which means that they can most likely now push forward and produce more content than they have been putting out recently. Now, granted, I don't think they've been slow to put out content, but I definitely know that, as a production company, you want to put out content. And in order to raise the awareness of where they are in the industry, the more content they put out, the better. So this infusion of cash from Tyler Brennan gives them the ability to put out more and possibly better content. On the other hand, you have another really great piece here, which is that Tyler Brennan runs a great store. And there's no talk of merging the RDQ and the Rotor Riot stores right now. That is not, apparently they're deciding to keep them separate even though they're running out of the same warehouse. Well, it's hard to run a store. I've never run a store. I mean, I've worked in a store, I've done retail. But, you've got inventory, you've got ordering, you've got to project what you might need. There's all these things that go into it. And Tyler Brennan has done a really good job of that with RDQ. And he can provide that extra expertise to the Rotor Riot store, which is great. Not that the Rotor Riot guys were doing a bad job. I don't necessarily think that they were. But anytime you have somebody that can come in and add value to what you're doing, that's a win. And then finally, there's the sharing of space, which is, if you think about it, the overhead cost for the space is now already paid for by RDQ. And that means that the Rotor Riot store is generating even more profit, which is going to let them produce more content. So in the end, this is a sweetheart deal for Rotor Riot. But what the heck does Tyler Brennan get out of it? That's the question that every single one of you should be asking, what Tyler Brennan gets out of this. And he actually addressed it in his post. Okay, I'm quoting directly from Tyler's post here on the RDQ page. For me, that opportunity was to join Rotor Riot and partner with Chad Capper. To make a difference requires a voice, and none is more influential than Rotor Riot's. It is one thing to run a store. It is another thing to affect a culture. I want FPV to become everything. I don't really know how else to say that. Tyler Brennan just said that with a whole heck of a lot of money. That's how he said it. And if there's one thing that I want each of you to take away from this, it's not that there was some business transaction. It's not that there was some, sweetheart deal for Rotor Riot. It's that having a voice is so powerful that a man will part with a wealth, a fortune, probably, in this case, to possess a part of that voice. And that statement actually goes deeper than just FPV, right? It's not about, I have a small voice here, and I've actually enjoyed having that voice. But when you start into how a voice affects culture, you get into some really deep stuff there. It is truly, honestly, having a voice in a culture is the ability and the capability to affect and change that culture. And, if you look around at all of the crazy things that have gone on in just America's past, in the past 50 years, so much of what we've been through as a nation has been about people gaining a voice. And people have died to gain that voice. So even though this is a sweetheart deal for Chad Capper, and this is a sweetheart deal for Rotor Riot, Tyler Brennan now owns a share of that voice. And that is perhaps the sweetest heart deal of them all. I'm Mike. I hope you like this. Subscribe, do all the stuff, and I'll talk with you guys later. Bye.